Have you guys been? Also, you must get a raise.
One of the number one reasons why people are actually going through difficulties in marriage is finances.
Does money then affect the environment? Absolutely. No, that's good.
Spill the tea.
No, really.
Spill the tea.
Have a conversation. Whatever comes.
The numbers for women are going up on financial stress.
I don't know if you can tell, but I'm genuinely.
Yeah.
Me too.
No.
In the women that we survey, 1 in 3 is a single mother. That's a terrifyingly high statistic.
Yes.
It's not something that I'm going to enjoy, but my children are going to benefit from it.
We're gonna hear about it. We wanna partner with you, we wanna help you wherever you are. And that's Old Mutual's belief.
How's it, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of Financial Tea. My name is Amake Velo Jaka. And today we're trying to make the awkward unawkward. We're gonna have a conversation about those things that affect most of us, but nobody really wants to speak about. We're talking about marriage, we're talking about death, we're talking about taxes, right? But we're trying to remove the veil of everyone being so afraid of these things and just kind of get into the nitty-gritties of why it's important to have those conversations with your partner. And joining me today, Lerato Maketa, Tebelo Mochane, and of course our Old Mutual expert Vuyo. So for this episode, usually I do the description, but I would like for you guys to describe what you do to me and why you are seated on this couch.
I'm Tebelo Mochane. I'm an attorney. I'm the founder of Sustain Law, which is a legal consulting company, which the main purpose of it was to educate women on all legal issues pertaining to estate planning, labor law, family law, commercial law. So that is what I do on a day-to-day basis.
So, thank you for the great introduction. My name is Lerato Maketa. My favorite role is that of a father and a husband. I happen to have 3 beautiful baby girls and a wife who I've been married to for 15 years now. And it's been quite an incredible journey. I think my biggest pursuit right now is real estate and helping people find homes.
Do you sell the houses?
Yeah, I do, to qualified buyers.
Okay, so your referrals are actually good.
You see what I'm saying?
I am.
Because
I'm
what we do is we
hearing you
pre-qualify.
Old Mutual expert, here to keep us grounded and remind us, and tell us about the insights that you have gathered as Old Mutual. So I'm going to get into it, guys. And, I'm going to start with you, Lerato. You've just mentioned that you've celebrated 15 years of marriage. How has marriage and family changed your approach to finances in general?
Look, I think very often we ignore the statistics that say that a lot of marriages just don't survive due to finances, or rather due to the lack of tabling them and just having a conversation about it. Is it uncomfortable? Absolutely.
Yeah.
As soon as you can find an agreement as far as where you would like to go, then it's okay if we disagree here, right? Because I've got my own ideas of what the path is, you've got your own ideas. But then what I figured out, if you sit in it long enough, then you start to see the other person's point of view and you're like, actually, you're right about that. I can give up my right to be right on that point. I can hold on to this, you guys find middle ground, and then you move forward.
Avoiding speaking about finances is the reason why people end up coming to my office. They end up then going through the divorce, as you said, and it's amazing to hear that even 15 years ago, you knew that you did not want to be part of those debts. If you don't communicate those things and start making decisions alone, that affects the other person.
We do the Old Mutual Savings and Investments Monitor, which basically looks at people's financial habits. What are they doing? What are their attitudes? And one of the biggest things that we track is financial stress, right? About 38% of people now who are highly financially stressed. Just the reality of not communicating, of not talking about finances.
Women are actually taking on more stress is because of that whole independent woman thing going on.
For me, I can 100% relate to that. My mom is a single mom, never married. Her own choice. She said, I went to school for 7 years. No man is telling me what to do. So she's like, nobody's telling me what to do. But over the years, I have watched the stress of, my dad passed away. My brother's dad is still alive, but he's not really the best. And, so I've watched the stress of this woman who's so qualified, so accomplished, trying to juggle both a career and a household. I just want to lean into now the law behind marriage, and I just want you to give us some insights on if people are choosing to get married, what should they be preparing in their marriage from your perspective?
From as early as dating stages is finances. More than anything, how are we going to structure our household financially? You can't get into a marriage not knowing that your partner is the one who is the only educated one in his family or her family. You need to know that from the dating stages. And once you've been able to determine that, you guys are then able to make a good decision based on whether or not you're going to get married in community of property or out of community of property. In fact, a lot of the time, the work that I do goes towards leaning for out of community of property. It's affecting the whole joint estate. And that had nothing to do with couples who don't love each other.
Yeah,
right?
those are just the reality.
Those are just the reality of the transactional kind of world that we're living in.
And Vuyo, she touched on something that I think you know very well, which is this generation of women who are taking care of both mothers and their own children. Can you just lean into that a bit?
Absolutely, and it's not even gender specific, right? So the sandwich generation is basically people with adult dependence and child dependence. So it's what you were talking about in terms of, are you caring for an elderly parent and putting children through private school, as an example, ending up in a tricky situation, people having to go into debt review or having to proactively approach a creditor because now you can't pay for the car or the house or the whatever that you bought. I think it's a very complicated situation that only compounds that stress, that pressure on a marriage if it's not.
And one of the conversations
engaged.
we're not having as well is the pressure that is on men, especially in those in community of property marriages. A lot of the time it's men who are the providers, right? As a result of being the provider, you do lose your job. You get retrenched. You're not yet ready to tell your wife because you're very stoic and you're the provider and you want to show that you've got this. As a result, you are taking out debt to cover that you are unemployed.
To cover your dignity.
That in the long run.
Am I lying?
That's exactly what you're doing. Exactly. Now your husband is in a position where he's not having the conversation with you as his wife.
Yeah.
And he's also not having it with his friends. Because the men around him are also
But you see.
working.
Cool. I'm sitting here listening to you guys speaking and I'm going, even I, 15 years ago, didn't know to have the conversation. And if I sat down to have the conversation, I would have
Where
had
we
no
gonna
idea
start?
what to say. Before we even get to, okay, my love, listen, this is what's going on. We haven't started to talk about the contract. So my advice would be understand that this marriage is between the two of you. It's between the two of you, make decisions between the two of you.
One thing that we're missing is the information. You know, like for people to equip themselves with the knowledge. And can you add a little bit to that?
At the end of the day, it's the two of you. So I've had so many times where in a consultation, one of the partners says that they want to bring one of their parents to intervene. No matter how society has, changed or remained the same, we are not having the same conversation as our parents. Yeah. Those are different conversations, right? So always start with your vision as a couple. And your vision as a couple is actually going to come from the conversations that you were having before you even came to start having the marriage conversation. What conversations were you having as dating? And especially you ladies, at this age that you're at now, you're not going to be dating for vibes anymore. Hello, Abuti Omang. How many siblings do you have? Those are the kind of, do you have children, Abuti? Are you married?
Because marriages are under siege, guys. I'm a huge advocate for marriage, a huge advocate for marriage, but get certain things out of the way. Have the conversation because you're gonna get married and life is gonna begin. Yeah.
And then I just want to quickly segue into the opposite of life, which is death. And I'm going to start with you, Debelo. The importance of wills. How important is preparing for death?
I think even if we can tell us those stats, especially, do you know how many organizations like Old Mutual have unclaimed benefits? that's running in 88 billion worth of unclaimed benefits because parents, for example, or whatever, relatives, are not having the conversations that they need to be having with their children. So in not speaking about death, you're not speaking about the fact that you have a will.
Sure.
And then you're also not sitting your children down to explain why it's Vuyo who's getting the family home. You need to let your children already know their strengths and their weaknesses. You're not doing them a favor by keeping these things secret. You need to say, Lerato, you are the one that I want to take care of the business once I'm no longer here because you studied medicine.
Yeah.
Only you can take over the GP practice. So let your children know why they are getting certain things. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses. You as a parent, you need to know as well your children's strengths, your strengths, weaknesses.
A will isn't just about money. So it's also instructions on what do you want to happen. So, I mean, we talked about 1 in 3 women are single mothers. Where your children go will be the default when you are no longer there. You can avoid that by simply putting it in the will to say, this is who I want to take care of my children. And inform that person, to your point, so that they're not sitting there like, oh, okay, this is what's up. Because out of the blue, it's a surprise.
Welcome, I guess.
It's about making decisions for what you want to happen for the people you're going to leave behind and the things that you may leave behind if you have assets.
If you are not having those conversations with your children, a lot of children don't know what a guardian fund is. They don't even know that when they turn 18, they now need to go to this government-owned institution. It's your responsibility as a parent to put a will in place, then set up a testamentary trust.
What is that?
We are going deeper now.
The purpose of a testamentary trust is to then say, if I leave children who are under the age of 18, set up this trust, have trustees, and the beneficiaries are those children under 18. Then the trustees are independent people.
Got it.
It can be 2 family members and a third party, an attorney, accountant, whatever the case is, or it can be 3 family members, 3 people that you trust who will be the trustees of that estate. They are now going to manage and administer the trust on behalf of the children. So a lot of the time it helps that it's people that you trust and that you know they would want to take care of your children, or they'll take care of the children in the way that you would have wanted them to. Then at least we know where the money is going.
You need to go and get the right kind of financial advice to set you up for your reality, right?
I think we've learned a lot about the things that you should do. Any parting words from you guys?
Parting words from me is that I think, especially for Black people, we need to understand that in learning about legacy planning, investments, life policies, all these terms are new to us as Black people, remember? We are also breaking generational curses of poverty, right? But we are planting seeds. It's not the fruits that we are going to enjoy, for starters. Secondly, believe in the power of invisible financial planning, if I can put it that way. And by invisible, I mean that things like life policies, it's not something that I'm going to enjoy, but my children are going to benefit from it. It's a risk protection plan. It's a financial planning tool, but it's also risk protection. Because like I said, the day after I die, they need to eat, they need to continue going to school, right? So my parting words is, let's understand that we are in it for the long haul. We are not just enjoying for today. We are now like planting seeds of generational wealth.
When we become ancestors, we must bless on earth.
You see?
Underground.
Yeah, because you're left to account. I would say be intentional. Be intentional about where it is that you want to go, what you want to leave behind. Be intentional. And being intentional is really about sitting and have the conversation. Keep persisting. Like today, it's worth just taking a step back. Figure out, who do I need to have conversations with? The hard conversations. Knowing that we're going to come into this conversation disagreeing, but we're going to come out of the conversation having moved the needle forward at the very least, right?
Get the advice you need for your situation. You know how you were saying, you don't have a dog, you don't have a cat, you don't have kids, but your situation is your situation. Listen, but your situation is your situation, and you need the advice for that situation, not for Lerato. So I need to sit down with someone and have a conversation about what's my life, what's happening in my life, what's the plan, what's the vision, so that that person can help me get there. And then I think there's the tools and the calculators. You know, you were talking, be proactive. There is this massive gap that exists when it comes to finances because we don't talk about them. So there are things your mom did not tell you about finances. And then you then take that, and if you take Lerato as an example, there are things Lerato won't tell his kids about if he's not intentional. So start being intentional about closing that gap. And I mean, even if you take the example of taking care of parents, our parents took care of their parents.
Yes.
But they never shared that with us. They never said, this is what it looks like. This is how
challenging it is, or
it
whatever
is.
the
This
case
is how difficult it is to choose between your children and your parent and avoid pitfalls. You know, we didn't get too much into the tax topic, but that is one of the biggest pitfalls people fall into, is not knowing you owe SARS X amount. You carry on as an
when you're
entrepreneur.
dead. Even when you're dead.
Carry on as an entrepreneur. Lerato is now gone. Next thing, SARS is like, So avoiding those kind of pitfalls where you just prevent certain things from happening, even not just for yourself, but for your family and you know, your loved ones. So yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much, guys, because this is, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm genuinely
Yeah.
I'm genuinely
Me too.
Sure. We still have time. We can fix this.
We can fix this.
I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
That all of this is terrifying. All of this is scary, but preparation and knowledge, there's a solution for it.
I love the point you made about we still have time. You can go from wherever you are. And that's Old Mutual's belief, is that we want to partner with you, we want to help you wherever you are. If you are already in a situation, you are married in community of property, things are getting done, you can go from there. Wherever you are, you can move forward from there. You don't have to get stuck in a situation and be like, oh, I can never change it because I don't have enough money. I can never change. Go from there.
The only constant in life is change. Thank you so much to my guests for an insightful episode. I am shocked but prepared. I am ready to tackle all these issues and speak to my parents, and one day when I have a spouse, have the conversation beforehand, you know, and have policies and rules in place and trust. There's so much, but I think my biggest takeaway from this episode is that the information is there. It's just waiting for you to access it. So on that note, from me and Old Mutual, thank you so much.
So just a bunch of friends, why are they still single?
You gotta ask
I
sometimes.
was
You
about to
never
say.
know. For me, the tea of the day was when Amahle said, cut, she's gonna call her mom and start speaking about life policies. I hope Amahle does indeed have the courage and ends up calling her mom so she can get the process of drafting a will and getting a life policy in place.
Tea of the day is stop being lazy, be intentional, have the difficult conversations, get to it, guys. We are running out of time.
Be proactive about protecting yourself and your loved ones. Be proactive about getting the knowledge that you need, and be proactive about getting prepared for whatever comes next.
I think for me, the tea was spilled today, quite literally at some point. Death, marriage, taxes, not fun to speak about. But what I think is very important, the takeaways that we have today is be prepared, get the knowledge, and equip yourself and your family members, and stop stressing people out because you don't want to talk about the uncomfortable things. Old Mutual is there, sister-in-law is there, a variety of people who can assist you and, you know, guide you. There's YouTube channels where you can get marriage advice. And so from me and Old Mutual, thank you.